And here we are. So first, let's pause. Okay, this is it. This is Dwarven Fortress in all its glory. Okay, first, this is what's happening. Okay, here we have a list of commands. As I said before, this version you have to use the keyboard. Luckily, they tell you all the possible commands, so that's not a problem. We can also have here a little map. Okay, it tells you the yellow cross is where we are. Okay. It's not really centered. I think it's a problem with the graphical tile set. Anyway, by pressing tab, we can change the different section. Okay, so for this is usually how I'll play. Okay, then we have a view announcements. When something important happens, you'll see it here in the tab. Building is to start building things. Reports, as there are no recent reports. Civilization world info is to see the world info. Okay, if you have neighbors, for instance, we have a half day's travel. We have the monastery of blood sizzles. No civilized population. There are some artifacts, in this case books. Okay, this is an abandoned monastery. Here, this is Diamondfold. This is here. Okay, so Diamondfold is here. Okay, the continent of Haze. Okay, the human hamlet. So very close, we have some human hamlets. Okay, so we might have some trading with them. Okay, here we have the human town of Squid Frame, population over 10,000. This is a huge human city. The city government is the group of compassion. Well, sounds nice. Civilization is the contested union. We have no contact with them. There are a lot of artifacts, probably books. Anyway, we have the designation, which is complementary to building, is how we give orders to our dwarves. Okay, and many other things. Okay, so spacebar is to pause the game. You can give orders to your dwarves while pause. These are trees. Okay, basically the game is shown by overhead. Okay, it shows in Z levels, Z levels. Think of the world is sliced horizontally into levels. Okay, different height. Okay, in the normal game you see only what's on the current height level. Okay, in this version with the new pack, you can also see this that a little lightly dimmed zones, which are the farther, so they're below. Okay, you can move up and down with the bracket square. It's this. Okay, which are on the sorry. Okay, bottom left of the keyboard. Okay, you can move up and down. Okay, okay, here we are ground level. Okay, so we can move. Okay, this area here is a hill. We can see where's black. Basically, it's there's some dirt, stone, something, so we don't see it. Something they can dig through usually. If you want to check your surroundings, you press K. Okay, and it tells you here what you're looking at. Where's the yellow cross is for is dense golden bamboo. Remind you, we're in the tropical jungle here. So the woods. This is acacia, mango. Okay, so we're in a warm country. This is a body of water. This is a little swamp like. The 7 means it's the depth of the water. It goes from 1 to 7, so it means that it's very deep. Okay, you can go 1 sea level below and there's still more some water, so it's 2 full levels of water. Okay, now pressing F1, we're centered to our dwarfs. Here they are in all their glory and beauty. So this here is the cart they used to get here. You can see here the dwarfs. Okay, we can use the K. So this with the purple hat is Lord Ficottle, is the expedition leader. So it's the leader of our group. This is Thicut Udson, the Diagnoser. As you can see, he or she is wearing a plague doctor mask. Okay, we can also zoom in. Okay, you should. Okay, then we have Matopmositosid, the metasmith. Ficot Alfkir, the miner. Akivish Otsinish, the woodcutter. Our animals: a stray dog, a stray cat. Udil Erith Betan, our cook. Our one of our alpacas and the other alpaca. Okay, so time to get our in gear. So let's check here. We should get a shelter, the first thing to do. Okay, so we could start digging into a side of the hill. We can also go up to see how tall this hill is, and it's quite tall. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, why there's a dwarf there? I don't know. Okay, so we can start here digging a shelter. Okay, so how do we tell these dwarves to dig? We use the designation function, so we press D and we can chop down trees, mine, build stairs. That's going to take a while to explain that. Gather plants and other things. So we'll start with D for mining, and we select the zone pressing enter and highlighting. So let's say, how far can we get here? Not too far, but it's fine. Okay, so these squares here are ramps, so they're inclined, should we say. Okay, so we select this way, so we're telling the dwarves to dig this. Okay, and then we can dig a little bit more. Then we can make a corridor. This, if you know Dungeon Keeper, it's basically the same. How you tell the imps to do stuff. it's mostly the same. So we can already plan how we're going to dig. Okay, so we can make a room here. We need some rooms. We need a room where to sleep, a room where we can put our workshops. Okay, like this. And okay, we might need a dining hall, a meeting hall. Okay, okay, and that's enough. Then we can also start chopping down trees. Again, to chop trees, you press D, designation. Chop down trees is the T for tree. And again, you select an area like this. Okay, and we're going to chop the highlighted trees. Then another thing, we need to designate some some rooms where to store the logs, the wooden logs, and that's a stockpile. Okay, we access the stockpile menu by pressing was P, right? We choose a type of stockpile. In this case, which is wood for wood. So we're basically assigning a zone that will be used to store temporarily our wood. Okay. Other things to start with, we have some animals that need to be pastured. Okay, so we need to designate a pasture. You get that by pressing I, zones. You select an area. Okay, for instance, I'd like my cattle, my animals, to be pastured near the entrance of my fortress, so we don't have to go too far to check them. So we get a nice zone. Then we have a menu. We have to decide what activities can be done. F, fishing, as if you select a body of water. Okay, gather, pick fruits. Okay, it's okay, we can do that. Garbage dump, we need a place later on to dump our garbage so it doesn't get too smelly. Pen pasture, so N, and we can get capital G to gather information, to set the fruit gathering information. So we pick fruit from trees, we pick berries and pull tubers and gather fallen fruits. I don't want to pick fruit from trees because it's dangerous, so we'll ignore them. Okay. And capital N for the animals. So we're going to pasture the dogs for now, the alpacas, the horse, and the donkey. The horse or the donkey, if you remember, we just chose the alpacas and the dogs and the cat. The horse and donkeys are free, came for free with the pulling cart. Okay, so you always get two pulling animals. Okay, and for now it's going to be it. We can also gather some plants. Probably we don't have any way, we don't have anywhere to place it. However, we choose D for designation, gather plants, P like plant. Okay, and we can select the zone. I'll show you just. As you can see, there are some shrubs that got highlighted, so they're going to be harvested by our dwarfs. And that's it for now. Let's check the dwarfs. The dwarfs are checked by pressing U. These are, we can hear the citizens, the pets and livestock, other things which, so other beings not part of our fortress. As you can see, there are some tiger fishes which are wild animals. We can fish them, so to, and we have our dwarfs here. Now we have to assign our dwarfs to some activities. They come with some activities already enabled according to their skills. So for instance, Ficod Alakthikir, the miner is already enabled to mining, but we have to tell the dwarfs, each dwarf, what he or she is going to do. So you can go with it V for view unit? No, it's Z. Go to unit, okay, and you can see the skills. Okay, it's currently, this is Thikut Udistun, the diagnoser. She is a male. He's a male. Sorry. He's currently doing no job. Okay, and these are his skills: novice fishes sector, cleaner, and so on, so on, so on. We can go for P preferences and labor, L for labor, and we choose which activities he is unable to do. So he can do some farming related, some farming fields, okay, some plant gathering, plant processing, and that's okay. So it's going to be a farmer for us. Okay, and that's all. We can also put into animal care. Okay, so next, expedition leader again, Z. We're already checking the preferences, so we don't have to go through it again. Our expedition leader is a miner, so we might give him some. For now, we just assign him to mining so he can focus on that. Okay. I don't want him to start doing other things like harvesting plants where we're in dire need of some good mining. So again, we have another miner. That's okay. Ficod Alakthir. No, I'll go with the Metasmith because I already know I haven't enabled anything, and right now is not going to do anything. I'm going to give him some crafting, wood crafting, stone crafting, okay, and some plant gathering, and that's okay. And our cook, finally. I already saw one of our drawers going for some fishing. So again, some cheese. Okay, I want him to be milking as well, so he milks and makes some cheese. Spinning, plant gathering, as I said, and that's enough. Okay, so we're ready. let's unpause the game. And there they go. Okay, as you can see, our woodcutter is cutting. Okay, it's cutting trees. Well done, well done, well done indeed. And our miner are going hard on the dirt here. No, nothing too fancy. We might pause and check with K to see this. What is this? This is loam wool. Okay, so this clay. This is silty clay. This is clay basically. Okay, this is not stone, so we can't fortify it. We can smooth it, so on. But that's okay. This is just a temporary shelter. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention: building fortresses takes a lot of time. So and dwarves need some things very fast, like a shelter, place to eat, place to rest. So you just can't start going for a huge fortress right away. You have to go one step at a time. So right now we digging these rooms in the hill, where we're going to put some beds, we're going to put some workshops, stuff like that. And later we'll also get more dwarves. Okay, and we'll start thinking about something larger, something bigger. Okay, now we have to first be sure our starting dwarves are safe and they're doing fine. Okay, talking about that, here we have let's see now. Okay, here, this little thing here is the brook. Okay, these are ponds, so they made of stagnant water. They're not so important. But this is a river, it's a small river. Okay, and this is where we're going to fish, and we're going to get some fresh water. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to designate the area as our fishing area. By the way, probably you noticed here it says rain, so outside it's raining. Okay, most of the times, especially if you play in tropical zones, the native dwarves are like to stay outdoor, don't complain about weather, so things, because otherwise it would be strange, by the way, because probably these dwarves are used to be outside. But we're going to get migrants from other civilizations or other dwarves who are not used to that, so we have to take that in consideration. So if they get a little wet from the rain, it's fine. Okay, but let's try to avoid it in the future. So I'm choosing these. Okay, as you can see here to the right, we can designate to fishing with 60 squares usable, so we'll do that. Okay, as other things, we see the meeting area, which is we are going to do as soon as we have a suitable indoor area, a hospital, again to care for our wounded and ill dwarves. Let's resume. Okay, let's go. Okay, now as you can see, they're putting the cut logs, the cut wooden logs on the stockpile. Okay, so there's nothing to catch in the western swamp because our dwarf is dumb and try to fish in the swamp. Get used to it. Another thing here, we get the date, so it's 21st of granite. Okay, we also it also tells us how many other dwarfs there are. Dwarfs not doing anything. Okay, dwarves might need some rest, some time off from time to time. However, if they're doing some productive time off, like reading, meditating, praying, as such, they're not among the other. Others are basically um, dwarves not doing anything, and we have three of them, so it's not good. Okay, so we'll pause. We still have more wood um, to take care of, so we get another stockpile closer to our fortress. So here, like, okay, and we also cut some wood here. Okay, we can also gather some plants here. Plants are used mostly for brewing alcohol, but they can also be cooked, so it's good to have some extras. Okay. We have some rocks here, as you can see, some boulders. This is probably clay. Okay, we're going to store it outside. If you press something like P for wood stockpiles, or D designation, B buildings, blah 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 blah, the game pauses, so you don't have to pause and do and provide some orders. So we're going to, with some stone, it's considered a stone, I think. I'm going to place it here. Clay and stone are very heavy, so we're going to take away. By the way, we have some wood, so we might start crafting some workshops. Okay, so we go into the building, B, like building. We can also move with plus and minus, by the way. Okay, the many things. What we want is workshops. Okay, you can access by pressing W also. Okay, we have leatherworks, quern, millstone, loom, clothes shop, blowish. Carpenters workshop is the first we might want, because we need to craft beds. So we'll start. Now we can move this 3x3 square into suitable places. Okay, you see it's green, so it's every place is good. We start here. Okay, it asked me what I would like to use to craft it, what materials. It's good. They provided from closer, you see this item, distance, and number. Okay, so how many are we using, of how many we got? And so it's better to choose things closer. However, I don't want to use the siltstone. I want to use the desert lime wood. So with plus and minus, you scroll. Don't forget, they always telling you how to use stuff. So then enter. Okay, we need just one unit. Okay, then we can we need a still to brew alcohol. I'm going to place it here. Again, we use some desert. Okay. Farmer's workshop. Farmer's workshop is quite important. You use it to make cheese, to shear animals, to geld animals. Okay, so it's going to be Okay, bye, Han. Thanks for dropping by. And so since farmers workshop, there's a kitchen for cooking. Okay, there's a fishery. We might want a fishery near the river. So here, for instance. Okay, so um, the we can cut and clean fishes as soon as we catch them. Let's go back with the kitchen. It's okay to leave it in the open because otherwise anyway the dwarf is getting wet fishing, so it's not really a problem. Here a kitchen, yes. Then a craft wars workshop. And okay, for now I think we're going to need a furnace and a metalsmith forge later. For now I think it's okay. Now I'm not planning to play much longer. I just wanted to show how to get started. Okay, the most important things. As I said before, there's no game manual, but there's a wonderful wiki. The community, the Dwarf Fortress community is awesome. It's very helpful. So you check the Dwarf Fortress official wiki, and be sure to check articles for the right version of the game, and they explain all the mechanics and how to do stuff. So keep your browser open on the wiki when you're playing, so you can quickly check how things, what you need to do. Okay, so let's pause. We have some workshops ready. To check them and to interact with them, you press Q and you go over them. For instance, we have a steel. Okay, it's already active. You can add new task. Extract from plants, brew drink from plants. Okay, we're lacking barrels right now, so it's not, we can wait for a bit. We had quite a lot of drinks, so it's not a problem. And the kitchen construction is initiated, so it's going to be ready soon. As you can see, there's already a dwarf working on it. And we have the carpenter workshop. Okay, we can start crafting beds, tables, and chairs out of the wood we cut down. To do that, you press A, add new task. Right now, this is one way to do things. Later, if you assign a manager and you provide him or her with a study, which is a table and the chair, you can simply ask for things to be done, and he'll or she'll take care of the rest. Assign the single task to the dwarves, and etc. etc. It's going to be easier. So for now, this is the easiest way to do things. Press Q, go over the workshop you need to interact with. Press A to add new task. Okay, you can make wood shield, wood buckler, training, spear, sword, and axe. It's advised not to craft them because they are not usable as real weapons. And dwarves, when they spend enough time using a weapon, any kind of weapon, they get attached to it. So if they spend too long with a training sword, they might grow attached to it, and they might use it instead of using an iron sword. That's okay. It's quite dumb. So it's usually better to avoid crafting them, okay, to avoid said problem. So we can start constructing a barrel. Okay, we can make two. So we can press A again. We already have wooden barrel highlighted, so we press enter again. Then we can craft some wood. We need some wood, some beds. Sorry, bed. So again, 1, 2, 3. Just we start with 4. You can assign a room to be a dormitory, so we're not really with a room for everyone, which is better than sleeping on the floor. Okay, it's not ideal. Eventually you want every dwarf to have a private room. Okay. Okay, then we can start making a wheelbarrow. Okay, and some beans, some wooden beans. Beans are containers for goods, so you should always try to have a few of them at your disposal, and that's enough. And the crust dwarf workshop is being constructed. Kitchen, the steel, we're waiting. Okay, now every workshop can be used by one dwarf only, so if you want to increase your production, you have to create more workshops. Okay, by the way, let's see, now we can what we might need then. For instance, we could craft another. Yes, a furnace. So a wood furnace, which is used to burn wood to make coal, which is used by other workshops such as smelters and so on. So we build a furnace here, a wood furnace. Okay, being something that has to do with burning wood, you can't make you can't use wood for that, so we'll use some siltstone. Smelter to smelt metals again. Okay, glass furnace and kiln. Kiln is to use to craft stuff in clay. We're going to use it later though. And then what? Metal workshop. A metalsmith forge. Okay, where we're going to use the iron anvil we carried with us and some siltstone. Okay, and resume. And this is it basically. So the reason why I'm not keen on doing Dwarf Fortress stream is that when you start a fortress, there's a lot to do. Then, as you progress, as a fortress progresses, there's a lot of downtime. Okay, now we're just waiting for dwarves to finish moving stuff. Okay, crafting things and so on. So there's a lot of downtime. Okay. Craft Wars workshop. Let's check what we can do. Many things with different materials like rock. We can do stuff in wood, for instance. So we can have, let's see, um, some cups, okay, some jugs, and a pot. Dwarves are going to need that to cook, to drink. So it's better to have some of them. Otherwise, dwarves we get stressed because they have to use their hands to drink, and you don't want that. So the carpenter is working. Okay. We're waiting for an architect to show up. Okay, we need someone. Okay, this nice thing that happened. Sometimes you may see the construction is inactive. Okay, and they tell you why. It needs architecture, so you need to have a dwarf with the architecture labor enabled. Okay, so we'll pick our expedition leader Z, and we'll check architecture under other jobs, and we'll enable it. Okay, so once it's done with the rest, go and draw a simple schematic to build the stuff. Okay. This is okay. Kitchen, steel. We can already starting brewing. Okay. Now another thing, as you can see, you can pile orders, okay, in the workshop, and as the works get completed, they get scratched from the list. Okay, eventually the list will be empty and the production will stop. If there's something, it's a production you want to keep going on and on and on, you can repeat it. So you press R to repeat, and the capital R appears next to brew drink from plant. So a dwarf brews some drink, and the activity comes back on the list of jobs to do. So it can be repeated until you cancel the task or remove the repeat mark. You can also press N to do task now, and for now, as you can see, there's a yellow exclamation mark which puts that particular task on top priority. If it needs something to be done fast, you use that. Right now we don't have the problem. Kitchen, we can start doing easy meals. Easy, fine, lavish. Easy meals are fast to do and require less ingredients, but they provide less happiness to the dwarf who eats it. Lavish is the opposite, so we can start with a easy meal and we can put on repeat. So we should be good here. Okay, we can also start adding some tasks to do some a wooden table and a wooden chair. Now there's something about chairs and tables that needs to be said. A dwarf is happier if he can hit sitting on a chair in front of a table. Every dwarf needs one table and one chair. So basically, when you craft a table, you craft a very small table for one person only. So if you want to make a table for 4 person, or better, if you want to have 4 sheets ready to eat, to be used for eating, you can't place a table and 4 chairs next to it. Okay, you have to place a table close to each chair. So for 4 dwarves, you need to craft 4 tables, put them in square, and use 4 chairs. Each chair must be next to one table. Okay. Now, as soon as I get some table and chairs, I'll show you. Now, another thing going on, something that we might need is a storeroom inside. As you can see, my carpenter is basically is going back and forth from the stockpile of wood. There he goes, or she goes, pick some wood, get to the workshop. That's a waste of time. So you might want that. We're just getting started. So, but later on, you might want to get stockpiles next to your workshop. A good idea is to craft a workshop on top or below the the stockpile. The stockpiles on top or below of the workshops. Before I go, there's something I need to explain, which is how the Z levels work in Dwarf Fortress. Basically, every level you see in the game is made of a floor and a surface level. So, for instance, when we dug these rooms here, um, we removed the surface layer, okay, but the doors are standing on the floor, okay. Both the floor and the surface layer are part of the same Z level. So every Z level is actually 2 layers deep. If you dig, you remove the surface, the top layer, okay. If you channel, that's the designation, that's H channel, you remove the floor. Now, this is the hardest part of Dwarf Fortress when it comes to build stairs. Now, I'll build a stair. Let's see where. Let's say here. Okay. So we mine a little corridor. Okay, now you see we have upstairs, up, downstairs, and downstairs. What does it mean? Upstairs, basically, we're not building, we're digging. So we dig and we shape the upper layer as a stair going up. Okay, up down stair means that we're going to shape the surface layer as a stair going up, and the floor layer as a stair going down, which is needed to have a to make a stairwell. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do an up down stair with I. Okay, now let's see if I can zoom. Okay, you see there's this brown circle with the cross. Okay, now I'll resume. Okay, as you can see, there's a tired dwarf who's sleeping on the floor because we don't have any beds right now. Okay, there it is. Okay, as you see the icon, you can see a stair going up and the stair going down. The stair going up was made on the surface with the surface layer, and the stair going down is made with a floor layer. Now, if we go downstairs, you can see basically we can spot something, but it's nothing, and there's nothing here. So basically, to get to the upper floor, we need to build or better dig a downstairs with J. So we go over it, we go on the level above, and we press it. Okay, as you can see, there's the designation for a stair going down. Okay, likewise here we have to make an upstairs view. So we'll remove the surface layer of the Z level, and we'll carve it into a stair going up, which will be linked to the two-way stairs we made in the Z level above. And that's it. Now we have to wait. Okay, and there he goes. So we have on the upper Z level we have a stair going down, so goes into the stairwell, and into the Z level below there's a stair going up. So we can, for instance, mine a little corridor here, and here we can mine a little corridor there. Okay, this is just to this is it's something that someone has to tell you about, because the game does nothing to help you with that. Okay, by the way, let's check how our production is going. We have finished with our computer workshop, so we can pause and we can play. We can place some of our furniture, pressing B, building, bed, B. Okay, we're going here. We're going to place a bed here. We have 4 beds right now: an acacia bed, 2 mango wood beds, and a rambutan wood bed. So we're going to place all 4 of them, and we make a dormitory out of it. So dwarves don't have to sleep on the floor. It's not ideal because it's a common room. It's a room for everybody. But it's better than nothing. Here instead, sorry, B for building, we can place, you can see that now bed there's a 4 because we're placing 4. It tells you how many you already placed down. So table, where's the table? Okay, right in the middle. We have a rambutan wood table, okay, and a seat. A seat can be a chair or a throne. Okay, next to it we have an acacia chair, and we'll use it. Okay, so while we're at it, let's make some more tables and chair. So A, make table. Let's make 3 more tables, and wooden chair, 3 more chairs. That's okay. Also, now you have barrels, so okay. As you can see, prepare easy meal, there's an A, capital A in green, which means that a dwarf is on his or her way to do it. We should have, did we make the metalsmith, smelter? Oh, we didn't craft the farmer. Where is it? Farmer's workshop. Yes, see, there's no number close to it. And we needed to make cheese. Good, sweet cheese. Gouda cheese. Okay, now that we have our beds placed, okay, we'll pause it. I'll show you how to make a common bedroom or dormitory. So you press Q to interact with the building. Okay, when you hover over bed, there's the prompt, press R to make a bedroom. So you will go into make a bedroom, pressing R. With plus and minus, you decide how large you want it. I want to be this large. Okay, so enter when done. And then we can assign bed to a particular dwarf, free bed, so we remove the bedroom status, make some barracks if we have soldiers, or a D for dormitory, and we're going to press D for dormitory. So now the dwarves know that when they want to sleep, they don't need to sleep on the floor. They can come here. There are 4 nice cozy beds. They pick one and they sleep. Okay. Okay, now there's something bad. You can see this purple stuff here. This is miasma, which is caused by rotten food usually. Okay, so we have to hunt. You see, pressing K, it's miasma. We have to find the cause of it. Okay, see if there's some, probably it's some, there's a swarm of flies, so there's probably some rotten meat. Miasma naturally is very bad for morale. Miasma happens in closed and underground areas. So, for instance, probably the only advantage of making a surface village, so with huts and houses, stuff like that, on ground level, is that miasma won't happen. However, it's building takes a lot of time in that case. Okay, so we need to find what's going rotten. So we could press T, if I remember correctly. Is it T? Yes. T shows the items contained in a building. As you can see, we have some rotten reindeer sweetbread. Okay, so we have to take it away. Now, we didn't assign any dump zone, so we'll do that. First, we press D for dump, so we know that we're telling our dwarf that it needs to go. Okay, let's check if there's something else. No, that's it. Then basically it happened because it took us too long to start cooking something. Okay, then you need to find a place, preferably outside, better if far away from the entrance. Press I to designate as a zone. Okay, it can be small, it can be even a 1 per 1 square is not important. And you designate it as a dump, garbage dump, D. Okay. So they're going to place here all the things we tell them to. Also, we can, as we here, make a stockpile for refuse, which are refuse. For instance, is the bones from butchered animals, and skin from butchered animals can be in some cases, wool. So okay, we place it here. Okay, we resume. Now let's hope that some dwarf. Okay, that was fast. See, no more miasma. It's so good. Okay, so we have a dormitory. See, there's a dwarf already sleeping. Okay, last thing is the make a dining room. We'll make a meeting hall here. Okay, meeting hall is where the dwarves hang out when they have nothing better to do and where they can hit. So we size the room just like we did for the dormitory, and we press H for making it a meeting hall. This is also where eventually migrants can stop after the travel. And that's it. These are the basics. Oh, goodness. Again. Must be the other. Okay, they're taking it away. Okay. If you see TSK means that they're doing it. That they're doing that task. Okay, as you can see now, these dwarfs here who are doing no tasks to do, they're hanging out in the meeting hall. It's not a bad thing, okay? Because they can start talking to each other, socializing, okay, which is something that can improve the mood of the dwarves. So we're 2 months in. It's the 11 of the third month that I don't recall what it's called, and we already have some working fortress here. Okay, so now it's a matter of finishing some furniture, giving each dwarf bedroom, okay, with furniture and the likes, and then you can start mining some for looking for metals. Oh, another thing very important is the trading depot. Okay, you'll have caravans coming to trade with you every 3 months. It can be dwarves, it can be elves, human. If the game's modded, it can be also goblins, kobolds, what you like. However, you need a trade depot to do that. Okay, so you need to build a trade depot. You need just one. Okay, here we need some wood, 3 units of wood, and that's it. And that's it. We have a working fortress. Probably next season we'll get some migrants. Or let's see, other things that we might want to craft. Okay. Um, oh, you know what? Another thing is the nobles. Pressing and nobles. Nobles are, you see, nobles and administrators of Dornost. Okay. There's a militia commander, which is the pointed dwarf, and you needed it to manage your militia and soldiers. Sheriff and hammer are not really important right now. The manager enables you a quicker access to production orders. So we can choose one, and we can choose Ula Farmer. You can also check every dwarf to see if there's someone with skills or attributes that match it. Chief Medical Dwarf, we already have Thicus Udsun, the Dinosaur, who they tell me he is adequate diagnostician, so is a good candidate for the role, and we'll choose him. A broker, someone who talks with merchants to trade stuff. Okay, we can have our expedition leader. Bookkeeper, not for now. As you can see, the managers as a require in red. Okay, if you press enter, you see that he needs a meager office. So in order to do his or her job, he needs an office. An office is just a table and a chair, so we probably can place it down. We can place it here in the meeting room, that's okay. We have a wood table here and a seat. Okay, and we can, I wanted to make a 4x4 table, so we're going to replenish. Where's the chair? Okay. Farmer workshop, we can make some cheese. Go repeat all the cheese you want. Milk animal, sure. Shear animal to get some wool, sure. Spin thread, okay. Then we can get some more cups, a jug and a pot. Okay. Kitchens, matter. Wood furnace, we can make some charcoal. And that's okay. We can make some buckets. Okay. We can make a splint and crutch just in case. Okay. By the way, our dormitory can double up as a hospital in case. Hospital is designated with I. So we press I, we select the area, okay, and we select hospital, H. Okay. Set hospital information. That's okay. It's just a place where the wounded dwarves get taken to in case they need to rest. So it's better to have it enabled. Another thing you might want to do right away is to assign a temple. Temples are assigned again with a I as a meeting area. Okay, I choose, usually is you can choose until you get a dedicated area on the crafting area, so that the dwarf can pray while working. Sounds logic. So we get a meeting area, M, assign location, L, We can add a location A. It's going to be a temple. We can have a guild hall, library, in tavern. Okay. We'll do a temple. We can add no specific deity, and that's it. The dead tundra. Oh, excellent. Okay, so we get also another basic need of the dwarf taken care. So if they need to pray, they can stay there and pray. This is where things get I wouldn't say out of control, but get a little harder too. Dwarves are not really don't respond very well to their own needs. So if a dwarf needs to pray, sometimes he needs some encouragement, like being locked up in the temple. But these are all things that in time that get smoothed out in the game. We're pretty good. We're pretty good. Okay, so we can assign a room. So we have I think it's make throne or study. Okay, we can choose the room. Let's make it very, very small. Okay, and we assign it. So assign chair to our broker. No, sorry, manager. Okay, so now that we have a manager and we have he or she has a study, okay, we can send out orders, production orders with O. No, sorry, with J. Okay, these are the orders that are going. As you can see, our metalsmith and our expedition leader are already praying, which is good because it releases some stress. Okay, so we press M for manager, okay, and Q to add a new order. For instance, let's say that we want to craft some cabinets. Okay, so we write cabinet. We choose wooden cabinet. Okay, how many? Let's say 4. And now we have on the list to craft 4. I made rock cabinets. So sorry. So it's R to remove. Let's try again. Wooden cabinet. Construct wooden cabinet. Okay, 4. Perfect. Okay, and we don't have to look for the workshop, assign the task, etc. If you have 4 workshop, the manager will assign each workshop to a single cabinet and call 4 dwarves to take care of that. So it's much more efficient this way. However, you need to have a manager, okay, and with an office to do that. But this makes things so much easier. Let's make no floor edge table chair C. I placed every chair right next to a table. Okay, if otherwise the dwarf don't recognize it as a suitable place for eating. Well, that's it. Okay, we have another miasma problem, and the first season has ended. We enable autosave, so the game is saving to prevent data loss. Okay, so I think it's It's nice place to stop here for today. Okay. So while it's going any issue. Anyway, okay, I want to thank all of you for dropping by. I hope you found this stream interesting, found out something new. I don't think I'm going to do any more Dwarf Fortress because it's it's too slow to stream. Okay, well, if you play it properly. Okay, if you rush headlong, trying to keep things entertaining, you will eventually fail. Well, anyway, I didn't see many questions. I hope I was clear in my explaining, and I hope I got you interested in this. Okay, once again, the all your question can be answered in the official wiki. Use it as a manual. Um, Look for the Dwarf Fortress communities. They're full of really nice guys. They're probably the best communities out there, helpful and nice to each other. And what else? I guess I'll see you next time. Have a lovely rest of the day. Have a lovely evening. And I hope to see you again. Goodbye.